welcome to a Mountain of Inspiration. My name is Dimitri. I am the gentleman who's simply on fire about seeing you get propelled to your next level of dimension as far as your journey to wealth is concerned. I am based in Canada, more specifically in this beautiful city known as Toronto. So if you're ever looking for me, now you know how and where to find me, all right? Let me just make sure that the sound is actually okay because sometimes this thing can be very finicky. So please bear with me. Okay, let me just see. If you can hear me, just say hello. Ah, perfect. Yeah, I know I'm on. Jack, excellent. Let me just greet family first of all. Happy Saturday to you, the Bud Files. Hope all is well with you. Thank you very much for joining me for this impromptu live stream that will take about an hour. So it's about 11:30 right now, Eastern Standard Time in Canada. And I do promise to stay before you until 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Canada. So if you can just get as many people as possible to just come join us, that would be fantastic because this will be a very jam-packed session, and I promise that we're going to definitely work and give you your money's worth and your time's worth when it comes to the quality of information I'm going to be sharing with you as far as this session is concerned. All right. My goodness, thank you very much for being with me. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. My amazing friend, the attorney, the one and only, the most amazing, the attorney from New York State by the name of Marcus, but he goes by the name of Debt Free Dad here on YouTube, an amazing YouTuber. So please feel free to also go visit him. So the Battlefires, feel free to visit that channel because they have lots of videos to do with history. So of course you know I love history, so feel free to visit that channel, as well as the Debt Free Dad when it comes to tips on how to become the first millionaire in your family and to definitely say goodbye to poverty as far as your family line or your family line is concerned. So two great channels to actually visit. Oh my goodness. So please don't forget to actually also press the like button so YouTube know that we are delivering great value as far as what we do on a daily basis is concerned. So again, as I'm saying, I'm going to be with you for only 1 hour. So from 11:30 right now, Eastern Standard Time in Toronto, Canada, all the way to 12:30. That's basically the amount of time I'm giving myself to actually deliver and share with you what I intend to share with you today. The topic for today, of course, is how to become a more sophisticated gold digger in your community. And for the thumbnail, I decided to put the Franco way. By Franco, I simply refer to a gentleman that used to live in the Congo, Zaire, from about 1938 all about to 1989. This gentleman was a prolific musician and basically left a huge mark, a huge footprint, and made a huge dent in the universe as far as more specifically the world of music is concerned. But someone's going to ask me the question, but why would you talk about Franco Rumble Macchiati in a video that's supposed to talk about this thing called wealth, how to become a gold digger? Was Franco Rumble Macchiati a gold digger? I would simply say no, but there is great wisdom to be gained from the life that this gentleman lived between 1938 all the way to 1988 or 89 if I'm not mistaken. So before I get to that, I'm going to definitely be going through a lot of reviews. This is going to be very heavy in terms of history because I believe that history is the foundation that can help us better understand exactly what we are talking about when it comes to building wealth, number one, and building wealth the right way, as opposed to just being a gold digger. By gold digger, I mean simply looking around you to see where you can actually go take advantage of people, take advantage of the resources in order for you to actually advance your own self. Let me just say hello to family as well. So yes, Cynthia Hope, thank you very much for being here. So happy to see you here. Oh my goodness, family, wellness with Frugal Mama. Thank you very much for being here. I'm so blessed to see all of you here. So please make sure to actually say hello to one another and also get to visit one another because it's very important just to get to see what each other is actually doing in terms of content creation, in terms of presence on YouTube, and see how you can possibly find ways to support them, all right? That's very important. Oh my goodness, my goodness. I believe the temperature just, let me just calm down. Legacy Moment is also in the house. Thank you very much for being here. I'm so beyond grateful for all of you for taking the time to actually come join me this afternoon, or this morning, because it's still morning for me in Toronto, in Canada. So I'm going to go from the very beginning. I'm gonna go from the very beginning, very beginning. So yes, as I said from the very beginning, I intend to talk about Franco Luambo Makiadi. This gentleman born in 1938 in Kinshasa, not Kinshasa. He was born in this place known as Sonabata, and then eventually moved to Kinshasa. That was in 1938. I will talk about Grand Calais, otherwise known as Joseph Kabasele, born in 1930. In Matadi, somewhere in the Congo, and eventually also moved to Kinshasa. I will talk about Vicky Longomba. I will talk about Dr. Nico, an amazing guitar player, born in 1939. I will talk also about, who else again? I will talk about Vicky Longomba, Grand Calais, Luambo Makiadi. Yes, I will talk about all these three names. And of course, I will also talk about Beyonce, born in 1981. And of course, I will talk about Jimi Hendrix, born in 1942, November 27, 1942. And this... So I'm talking about the Congo and the USA, and someone's asking me, so why is two different countries? You will see exactly why by the time I'm done this presentation. Again, the Congo and the USA. USA, we talk about Beyonce, born 1981. We talk about Jimi Hendrix, born November 27, 1942. And the Congo, we talk about Franco Luambo Makiadi, born in 1938. We talk about, yes, Dr. Nico, born in 1939. And we talk about Grand Calais, born in 1930. And we see how these two worlds eventually collided and gave us some wisdom when it comes to how to build wealth the right way and what is the true meaning of wealth as far as it is concerned. Oh, my goodness. Yes, let me just say hello again to family as well here. I have Sam Chemdream Agoha. My goodness, thank you very much for being here. I hope yes, of course. Oh my goodness, this is my amazing brother from Germany, an amazing motivator, an amazing source of inspiration and motivation, all from Germany. Everyone, please make sure to say hello to him and go visit his channel. Definitely someone you need to look up when it comes to great content and a dose of fire when it comes to boosting motivation. Dr. Guitarists. Oh my goodness, we have a guitarist in the house. Fantastic. I'm so happy to see that because today we'll be talking about a few guitarists. Again, as I was saying, Jimi Hendrix, we're talking about him. We talk about Jimi Hendrix, Grand Calais. We'll be talking about Franco Luambo Makiadi. We'll be talking about Dr. Nico. And we'll be talking also about another saxophone player by the name of Manu Dibango out of Cameroon. So again, before I get to the music part, let me now go to the foundation. The foundation is, of course, history. History, we're going to go more specifically to 1601. So this is, for some of you, this is just a recap because I've been talking about it for the past few days. And for other people, it will be completely brand new. 1601. Anne of Austria is born. She's born in Europe. And as she's born, of course, she's minding her own business. She's born to a very wealthy family and she's minding her own business. In the meantime, somewhere in France, more specifically in Paris, a king by the name of Henry IV is is in a very precarious position because people are opposing his regime and he knows that his days are counted. And of course, he has a son by the name of Louis XIII. So Louis XIII, of course, is next in line to become king. And as fate will have it, shortly before 1615, 1614, Henry IV is assassinated and Louis XIII is now made king over France. So Louis XIII said to himself, I need a king, I need a wife. I need a wife to help me actually rule over this country, more specifically for one key purpose. The purpose is also to secure succession as far as my country is concerned, my kingdom is concerned. So I need a woman. So I need to find a woman amongst the families of noble people around Europe. So people say to him, as a matter of fact, this is the right time because there is a young girl who's barely 14 by the name of Anne of Austria. She's of a very good family, and I believe she'll be a perfect match as far as the two of you are concerned. So they bring Anne of Austria along, and they say to her, yes, would you like to actually consider this gentleman as your potential husband? And she said, of course, yes, this guy looks like a very good gentleman, and it looks like he's going somewhere. So that was 1614, 1615. So they get married. But as they get married, things get a bit interesting. Because between 1614, by the time they got married, all the way to 1636, 1637, basically there is no child, there is no pregnancy. And every time there is any type of pregnancy, of course, it ends up becoming a miscarriage. And of course, this miscarriage within the family becomes a miscarriage of hope within the entire nation of France. People are simply saying, but we brought this woman along because we're expecting for her to become the one to give us the next in line. line. But for all these years, for more than 20 years, she's giving us nothing but miscarriages and nothing but basically, she's turning out to be a fraud as far as what we're looking for is concerned. My goodness, let me just say hello to family as well again. Planning one life for Brittany, all the way from this beautiful city known as New York City. She has an amazing channel as well when it comes to how to organize your finances and how to organize your life. If and when you have a chance, please go visit her channel, and you're definitely going to say thank you, because she definitely has amazing content. Cynthia Hope, thank you very much for being here again. So, they were actually about to kick her out. People started talking to the king, Louis XIII, simply saying to him, by the way, you know what, this woman, basically, she's been with us for all these years, and because she's not giving you a child, so we are within our right to simply find a way to ask for a divorce. And if we go to the Pope is going to agree with us, because according to what we call the Salic laws, if a woman actually enters marriage and she's unable to actually produce a child, the man is within his right to actually kick her out. Even from back in the day, they had no way to actually prove that the man was actually the actual culprit. They were simply assuming if something was actually working, it was mostly the woman. So they were no way to find out that yes, maybe the man is not who he claims to be. So they were putting pressure on the king, Louis XIII, to actually kick her out. Eventually, as fate will have it, 1626 comes, 1627 comes, she gets pregnant, and of course this time, the pregnancy seemed to be progressing very well. All the way to about 1638, and of course, 9 months later, she was now due to actually deliver. The day of the deliverance, of course, the whole court, as it was customary, comes into the room, because they have to come there to see exactly what is happening with their own naked eyes, for only one reason, because they were basically scared that some kind of crazy thing could possibly happen when the child was actually being delivered. Because in the past, there have been instances of situation where the woman was actually giving birth, the queen, and by the time the child came out, they realized it was actually a girl, and because they knew the girl could not actually become the next in line, then they would quickly find a baby boy and put it in the state and say, oh yeah, this is now the baby boy that this woman has given birth to. So in order to actually prevent this from happening, the whole court had to be present. So while this is happening, of course, the queen is there, completely exposed, completely naked. She gives birth, and of course, hallelujah, it wasn't a boy. People get extremely excited and so, yeah, we finally have a boy, and so on and so forth. And as the boy is born, the father and the mother have to actually consult each other and say, how are we going to actually name this child? The mother says, my husband. I love you very much. You've been very kind to me, but as far as this child is concerned, I believe we should call this child Deodatus, God-given, or Dieudonné. Why? Because you don't know how much I've endured over the past 22 years waiting for this child to be born. So now that the child is actually born, I would like to actually call this child God-given, or Deodatus, or Dieudonné. And the king said, of course, yes, if you don't call the child Deodatus, we can call the child Deodatus. So that was the beginning of something completely amazing. And as fate will have it, within 5 years, basically 1643, Louis XIV basically passes away. And as he passes away, the next in line to become the king of France is now the son by the name of Deodatus, Dieudonné, or God-given. As he assumed his position as the next in line, he could not actually exercise as a king, but it was the next one in charge. So they had to give him also a name as a king. And so the name they gave him as a king was now Louis XIV. So as Louis XIV assumed his position, what happened was basically a transfer of powers between Louis XIV and someone who was supposed to reign in his stead by the name of the Prime Minister, another one known as Cardinal Mazarin. He was actually there to actually look after executive orders. That's number one. Number two, the man was then basically to act in his stead. So when it comes to all the head of state meeting or all the fancy encounter where they had to discuss some very deep things, the man had to actually act as the mother of the king. So that was basically our thing actually said. But in the meantime, this young man had to be groomed by, of course, the Prime Minister, Mazarin, and the man to actually become the one to actually take over once basically he reached the age where he can actually make decisions on his own. But as they're doing that on a daily basis, the king is actually being reminded by the cardinal, his prime minister, that yes, you are very special because you are God-given. You are definitely the one that the country has been waiting for. And as he goes home, his mind is actually repeating the same thing to him. You are God-given. You are a gift from God. You are definitely amazing. So of course, this actually becomes part of his DNA. So he starts seeing himself as a very special person. And that was the beginning of something completely amazing. Because by the time Mazarin is actually passed away, when he was actually 21, Louis XIV said to the rest of the people, from now on, I'm going to assume all the position by myself. I'm going to assume all the power on my own. I'm not going to rely on the prime minister to help me decide over the matters of this country. I'm going to be the one now in charge. People say now, this young man is crazy. He has completely lost his mind. But they did not see that this young man basically has something in mind when it comes to how to rule over France. And of course, the rest is history. Because this guy came to be known as the Sun King. The one who basically was able to actually pull all the resources of the country around himself and actually assume the longest reign as a monarch between 1638 and 1712 or 1715 when he passed away. Because this guy basically spent close to, if I'm not mistaken, 72 years as a king over France. But why this is so important, why this is the foundation? Because this gentleman, Louis XIV, established himself as a king that basically took his country from just a relatively obscure country to a place of great prominence. Now people were talking about France as a great kingdom, a place of splendor. So a place where basically, yes, gold was all over the place because it transformed, even when he was living Versailles, into a magnificent piece of art. And people were completely intrigued as to how he did that. But how did he do that? Because simply, as he was reigning over France, he was also sending people all over the place to try to figure out exactly how to go find gold, how to go find resources all over the place to bring to him so he could actually fund his vision as the Sun King. So as he's doing that, of course, other kings, other monarchies in Europe are also paying attention to see exactly what is happening. Of course, after Louis XIV passed away, Louis XIV is succeeded by Louis XV, who was not as good as Louis XIV, and eventually comes Louis XVI, his nephew, who was not even close to what Louis XIV was. Because Louis XVI is the one, of course, with his wife Antoinette, actually went there when the revolution took place in 1769 in France. And this is something very important we have all to pay attention to. Let me slow down and say hello to family as well. Oh my goodness, Rich New Design, the musician is in the house. Thank you very much. I am so humbled to see that you're taking a few minutes of your precious time to come join us when it comes to this live session. I'm going to be with you for the next few minutes until 12:30, so please bear with me because I'm here to share with you something very important and of course a jam-packed with information. I'm always well with you, our family is very well, and I hope that I'm going to be able to actually listen to some new music from your channel this afternoon. Yes, also I have Mama Mimine Kaka TV all the way from the UK in Europe. Thank you very much for being with us. So I appreciate your support. Thank you very much for being here. So as I was saying, Louis XIV goes, Louis XV takes over. It's not as good as Louis XIV. Louis XVI comes, takes over with his wife. Unfortunately for them, they are the kings that basically that the people of France did not like. Because come 1769, the revolution comes, of course they have to go. As they have to go, now comes into play something really crazy. Because France had been supporting the revolutionaries in the United States that were trying to throw out all the British from the American zone. The British were now also resentful. They were trying to get back at France, more specifically at Louis XVI, and also trying to create some kind of chaos over France. So as Louis XVI is actually basically deposed and eventually executed with his wife Antoinette, then there comes a moment of vacuum in France between 1769 and 1795. Why? Because the people of France, 1789 and 1795, because the people of France didn't know exactly what was going to happen. The revolution on one end was trying to actually force something new to actually be imposed over France, but of course, those who were close to the royalty, to the royal regime, were also opposed to that. And of course, the Catholic Church was also becoming opposed to that. They could not see exactly where the revolution were actually going with all these new changes they were trying to implement. And then comes something really crazy, 1795. Because the revolutionary failed to actually meet the demands of some of the people from the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church got together with a bunch of royalists and went to England. England gave them the support. They decided now to actually march towards Paris. They were trying to overthrow the new regime in 1795. This bunch of people, civilians, supported by the British government, this bunch of civilians and a bunch of royalists, they managed to actually defeat some trained soldiers on the way to Paris. So of course, all the people that were in charge of the country were now completely shocked and completely scared for their lives. So they kept saying to themselves, what are we going to do now to stop these people? Eventually someone says, no, I believe I know the solution as far as this thing is concerned. Let's call on this young army officer by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte, because this guy is not only ambitious, but he's actually well trained to actually be a strategist when it comes to the manners of war. Let him bring along and see how we can help us stop this bunch of crazy people trying to overthrow this regime. So Napoleon Bonaparte comes and Napoleon Bonaparte says, yes, I'm going to help you on one condition. You have to give me exactly what I need as far as this thing is concerned. Number one. And number two, you have to give me the full powers to actually make my decision as far as this maneuver is concerned. They say, yes, young man, you can do as you wish. Napoleon Bonaparte says, yes, I'm going now to position my troops in a way that basically, in order for this mob to actually go over, to go to the institution, they have to actually go by this very particular street, which was a very narrow street. So I'm going to position my troops right there. So he actually sent for a group of people to actually go get fetch ammunition and guns for his troops, and which eventually arrived on time. So as the mob is coming, the mob is saying, we are over 5,000 people. And this young officer has only a handful of soldiers with him. How could he possibly believe that he can stop us in this confrontation? How can he possibly believe that he has the power to actually stop what God has decided? Because that's what they're saying. They say, we are here for the Catholic Church, we are here for the royalists, and there is no way this guy can actually stop us. So that's what they were thinking. Napoleon Bonaparte says, I went to school to actually become an army officer. I'm very good when it comes to mathematics. So I know exactly how to position my troops in a way that I'm going to have the upper end no matter what. Eventually, there's a confrontation, and because Napoleon Bonaparte positioned the troop in such a way that he knew exactly how to actually inflict maximum damage on these people within a short time, that's exactly what happened. And before you know it was basically pandemonium. This mob basically started running different directions because they realized that there was absolutely no chance for them to actually take over Paris the way that they intended to. Of course, before you know it, Napoleon Bonaparte managed to basically stop this nonsense and actually take over Paris and actually give the people in power the chance to actually continue what they were doing. And from that point, that was the beginning of something completely crazy. That was the beginning of a new form of regime as far as France is concerned. So now we are going from monarchy, kings, and now we are going now to emperor, because Napoleon Bonaparte and his wife Josephine Bonaparte, they said to themselves, between 1795 and 1804, they're going to do anything within the power to get all the way to the top. Gold diggers, because they said we have to actually find a way to actually put our hands on as many resources as possible and become wealthy as people. So as they're doing that, of course, in 1804, they actually managed to actually do that, and they become, of course, emperor and empress of France. And Napoleon Bonaparte reigns from 1804 all the way to 1809, when they decide to finally to actually get rid of Josephine Bonaparte and actually go marry someone else by the, I believe, Marie-Louise, for the name will come back to me. So as he married Marie-Louise, because he was looking for someone to actually to take over as a son, and because Josephine was not giving a son, he actually decided to remarry, and he remarries. Of course, this woman gives him a son that came to be known as Napoleon II. Unfortunately for him, he decided to go to Russia. He goes to Russia, is defeated, he comes back to France. Eventually, 1814 is now forced to abdicate. As he's forced to abdicate, Napoleon Bonaparte says, yes, I'm a gold digger. I know that. I'm a gold. You finally got your hands on me. You say to me, I'm going to stop. I have to go away. So I'm going to go. That's fine. But could you please secure the position and the future of my son? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, something crazy happened. Something crazy happened. So please bear with me. Yes. So as I was saying, so in 1804, 1812, 1814, 1814. So when this thing happens, eventually Napoleon Bonaparte is now forced to abdicate. As he's forced to abdicate, now of course there's a vacuum because people are saying, so what's going to happen now? He tried to get all the forces, more specifically British and other countries, to actually agree to the terms to actually let his son reign as the next in line. They say, no, this is not going to happen. You've been defeated, you have to go. He goes into exile. Of course, eventually his son Napoleon II is also killed in a war somewhere. So basically, it is died of pneumonia. So basically, never actually got to a point where you can actually aspire to become emperor. And crazy thing happened. I'm going somewhere. Please bear with me. Comes down. Later, a few years later, his nephew by the name of Napoleon III eventually managed to actually become head of state over France. And as head of state over France, he said to himself, eventually I can find a way to go on to become as great as my uncle by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte. And he's trying to challenge Prussia and to challenge the German. So please bear with me. This is now where it's going to get very interesting. He tried to challenge the German says, Prussia back then says, you're going to challenge us? Are we going to challenge you back? Back then, there was a gentleman named von Bismarck. Bismarck says, I'm the chancellor. There is no way you're going to actually defeat it because we have the superior intelligence when it comes to equipment. We have basically what we call now German engineering. We're going to defeat you. They're going to war. In 1870, Napoleon III is now also defeated and has forced to abdicate. And that was basically the beginning of a completely new era as far as gold digging is concerned. Because now over Europe, there is now a new sheriff in town by the name of von Bismarck. Von Bismarck, between 1870 and 1884, is now devising strategy to actually see how he's now going to establish himself as the next in line to go basically all over the place to become the ultimate gold digger, to go to see how he can actually go plunder resources all over the place to actually bring the resources into Europe and actually make his country and his continent as wealthy as possible. And that was in 1884. In 1884, he says, I'm going to call upon all these head of state in Europe to come into Germany. We're going to sit down and decide how we're going to divide this continent we have actually discovered as a spawn of war. This continent we have discovered, and this continent is going to be basically what we're going to divide amongst ourselves. And this continent, as they decide to divide this continent, they bring all these head of states. They bring Belgians, they bring France, they bring British, they bring, all of them, they were basically at the table. Even Americans came. They came, but they did not actually partake. Just what I just observed. So as they were staying there, people started taking different parts of Africa, and eventually, this is now where we go now to go Africa. My goodness, let me just say hello enough for quickly. Oh, yes, Kesha. Oh, my family, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being here. So as they're dividing now the continent of Africa, something crazy happened. Eventually, they come to a place where they say to themselves, there is a particular country, there's a particular territory in Africa that we have actually lay our eyes on. This country is completely beautiful, but we don't know exactly who should actually give it to. Someone says, no country is claiming it, but at least me here as a king, by the name of Leopold II of Belgium, I would like to lay claim on this particular territory. They say, what territory is that? He says, it's a territory that I actually discovered through one of my explorer by the name of Stanley, and I would like to actually take over this territory. He said, oh, if you want to take over, so what are the conditions? Eventually, he meets all the conditions. He says, as a matter of fact, I was able in 1881 to even lay claim by actually creating a city within that territory by the name of Leopoldville in 1881. And it says, I'm going to call that particular territory Congo. And of course, Congo is now to be differentiated from another Congo right across from the river by the name of Congo-Brazzaville. Because Congo-Brazzaville was actually discovered by another explorer working for the French by the name of Pierre Savognin de Brazza, which discovered that part of the territory in 1880 and called it as Brazzaville, which is a name stand to this day. Completely crazy, but that's a different part of the story. So Leopold II says, please give it to me. They say, yeah, we're going to give it to you. Leopold II take this part of this country because his mind is, I'm going to be a gold digger. I'm going to go now into the Congo. I'm going to actually plunder as much as possible, get as much as possible, because I can make myself wealthy as a person, and of course to some degree also my country, which he does. But he was so aggressive. as a gold digger, so aggressive. Eventually, by the early 1900s, the country actually intervenes and says, no, king, the way that you're actually going about your gold digging activity is such that we have to actually take the country away from you. We're going to take the country away from you, but we're going to leave the name of the city as the capital as Leopoldville in honor of what you decide to have as a vision. But for the rest, we're going to take over, and that will basically the beginning of a new era, and this is now where we're going as far as gold digging is concerned. So while the country is being colonized between this year and 1960, a few visionaries are now being born. In 1930 was born a gentleman by the name of Joseph Kabasele, who eventually came to be known as Grand Calais. As Grand Calais is born, very quickly, of course, he was born to a very prominent family of people like the Cardinal by the name of Cardinal Malula, and it was definitely a great family that knew where they were going. But this gentleman says, I'm going to actually become a musician. So that's what he decided to do. He becomes a musician. When he was actually gone, he had the chance to actually go work as a teacher. He becomes a musician and is doing very well. 1950 comes, so basically 20 years later, he decided to put together a group of people to actually be working with him. So a band. And as he's actually playing his band, eventually it goes to a radio station that we're looking for an advertisement to actually be played by a group of musicians. It put together a group of musicians, and they called themselves the OTC after the name of the company that had hired them. And they kept that moniker OTC for a few years, for 2 or 3 years, until 1955. 1955, they decided to call the name of the group now by the name of African Jazz. And African Jazz, as it's actually going, African Jazz started basically now attracting to itself great names such as Dr. Nico, the young Dr. Nico that was born in 1939. Dr. Nico, Manu Dibango in 1960, Tabule, amongst other people, and many other great people. So they started putting together an amazing cool group of people playing music at the highest level. And this is now things are getting extremely beautiful as far as gold digging is concerned. Because in the mind they're saying, wealth is supposed to be something that we have to actually go plunder from the outside, because we've seen how Leopold II came to this country and was trying to be as aggressive as possible to actually go dig as much as possible wealth from the country, from the physical environment. So in the mind is saying we have to go also and try to sell music right, left, center, so we can secure as much as possible. And why am I saying that? Because Grand Calais, Joseph Kabasele himself, he was actually born, of course, in Matadi, and eventually moved to Leopoldville. He said to himself, in order for me to also make my name great, I need to make sure I do the same thing as Leopoldville, but as King Leopold, but I have to reverse that. I have to secure as many deals as possible with the European countries so that my music can be sold also in Europe, so that I can make more money. That is thinking. So that's what he's doing. And as he's doing that, of course, things are doing phenomenally well. And he's doing that very, very, very well until basically 1960. After they go to Europe, of course, they were playing in France, in Belgium. As they're playing in Belgium, in Brussels, they discover a young man by the name of Manu Dibango from Cameroon. Manu Dibango was just playing saxophone the way that no one could actually play saxophone in the Congo. So they say, we're going to bring Manu Dibango with us, ask him to come join the band. Manu Dibango says, yes, African seems to be the place to be right now when it comes to music. So I'm going to go along with you. Manu Dibango decided now to join African Fiesta, African Jazz, to join Grand Calais, to join Tabule, and to join all these people to actually go play music with them. It goes to Africa, it goes to the Congo, they play music together until basically the mid-1960s. Mid-1960s, Tabule and Manu Dibango decided now to leave Grand Calais and go build their own music and call it African Fiesta. By that time, Grand Calais simply says, this is crazy. I thought that my life was actually set. I was actually attracting all the people to actually work with me. Now they are going away. What am I going to do? That was the beginning of depression as far as Grand Calais is concerned, until he eventually passed away in France in 1983, barely at the age of 53. Completely crazy. In the meantime, as well, Dr. Nico as well, of course, decided to also go away and go with Manu Dibango and Tabule. But let me just slow down and tell you exactly why I'm talking about Grand Calais. Because Grand Calais, as he was actually grooming all the different people, he also had in his table a gentleman by the name of Dr. Nico, born in 1939 in a place called Mikalai, I believe, in Grand Kasai. As this gentleman was actually playing beautiful guitar, his virtuoso became known amongst the musicians all over the world. More specifically, even people in England, even people in in the USA came to know this guy. Let me just slow down quickly. Yes, hello Jessica, thank you very much for being here. Oh, I'm so glad that you actually decided to join us. Thank you very much. Yes, please make sure to also, get to actually talk to one another. Oh, Mountain Finest. Oh, yes. Doctor, Professor Candace, thank you very much for being here. Yeah, I mean, please don't laugh at what was happening. I mean, some things happen, but it's the beauty of life. Anything can happen. So please bear with me as we just going through this. So yes, so again, Dr. Nico was playing music at a level where basically people start asking where exactly is this guy coming from. So now is basically where things get very interesting. In 1942, more specifically, if I'm not mistaken, 1942, if I'm not mistaken, so November 27, 1942, was born a young man that came to be known as Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix, as eventually, I've been telling the story for quite a long time, you know the story. He felt like he was actually born to make music. He was looking for a way to actually make music, to the point where from time to time, when his father would actually go away, he would try to just look at the radio to see where the music was coming from, to the point where one day he decided to actually take the old radio apart to see what was inside the radio in order for him to discover how exactly music was actually made. But unfortunately, because he didn't have the technical expertise to put it back together, by the time his father came back, he basically received a whooping of his lifetime. Oh yes, of course, live stream as much as possible. I will try to do that. But of course, for this live stream, I'm going to be with you only for the next 24 minutes. Thank you very much for being here. Professor Candace. Oh my goodness, this woman is amazing. If you have a chance, please go visit the channel as well. Mountain Finance. She's also in Canada and she delivers amazing content. Same thing I would say for J-Dub Vlogs. She's also in Atlanta, America. Atlanta, Georgia, beautiful city. Make sure to go visit the channel. She has tremendous content that you want to discover. Yes, so I was saying, so eventually, something crazy happened with this young man by the name of Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix says, yes, I feel like I was actually born to do music. So from time to time, when his father would go, when he give him the task, he says, my young man, please go clean the house. He would take the room, he would clean the house. But by the time his father would come back, he says, the house is still messy. What exactly is happening? It is only later realized that the house was getting messy because by the time he would be done sweeping the floor, this young man would take the broom and start basically using the broom as a guitar. And as he's doing that, of course, all the pieces from the broom were basically all over the place, and it's not how he kept making the house so messy. It's not funny. He said to himself, I need to buy this young man a guitar so this young man can start playing guitar. He buys him the guitar. Jimi Hendrix started playing the guitar, but because he was left-handed, he would start playing guitar as a left-handed person. So of course, he's playing like this. So his father realized that my son is playing with left hand. Because of the mindset of the time, the father says, no, the left hand is that back in the days, that the end of the devil. My son, you can be using your left hand. So the son simply says, yeah, daddy, if you say to me the left hand is the end of the devil, I'll be only using my right hand. So when his dad is around, he's playing the right hand. When dad is gone, he's playing the left hand. So you can imagine. Very quickly, Jimi Hendrix became absolutely prolific, amazing player when it comes to guitar around that time. So he was playing now left and right, left and right, left and right. So he was actually becoming a phenomenal guitar player. So as the guitarist, even people like Eric Clapton, known as the god of the guitar in England, knew of Jimi Hendrix. They wanted to play with Jimi Hendrix because they knew the quality of music this guy was playing with the guitar. But Jimi Hendrix is saying, as much as I play guitar with virtuoso, there was one young man playing guitar with much more virtuoso. It's amazing, this young man. This name is Dr. Nico from Kinshasa, or back in the day known as Leopoldville. I need to find a way to actually do a collaboration with Dr. Nico because these guys play music at the highest level. So he goes now to Paris and tries to find a way to collaborate with Dr. Nico. They get together, but they never produce any music together. But this is, of course, something I need to put out there so that you can know exactly the caliber of music I'm talking about. That was in the early 1960s. Now, let's move back now to 1938. 1938, now in Leopoldville. Now, let's go now to Franco Rumba Macchiati. Born in 1938 in a place known as Sonabata, eventually moved to Leopoldville with his family. Very quickly, between 1938 and 1950, his father passed away, and his mother is basically left the only one to be the breadwinner for the family. So the mother has basically, as a gold digger, quote unquote, people simply trained to see that yes, wealth comes from outside, the man will simply go out there to start selling things all over the place in the market. Let me just say hello to family in the chat here. Okay, that's fine. Everybody's fine. Please make sure it doesn't happen again. Please say that so it doesn't happen again. Yeah, because people, it was kind of funny. So as he's doing that, Franco Rumble McKenny, he said to himself, I can no longer be going to school. This is now where I want you to pay attention. Franco says the way to actually go on to become someone in free society is to go to school. But because my father passed away and because my mother is the only one to put food on the table, I need to go to the market with her to help her put food on the table. I need to go with her. I don't know how to say it, but I know one thing. I know how to play music. So I'll be playing with my makeshift guitar in the market so I can attract people to come to my mom's stall to buy things from her. So that's exactly what he does. He's doing that between 1950 and 1953. And as he's doing that, he comes across another young man that will basically play the role of, I would call him Peter Tosh or the Bunny Willis of Bob Marley. The young man's name is Dewayon. Dewayon simply says, yes, young man, because Dewayon was actually much older. Young man, I'm going to help you fine-tune your music. Let's start playing music together. They played together until 1953. Come 1953, they say we're going to go somewhere, audition for music. We're going to go audition for music with this guy by the name of, it will come back to me. Yes, it will come back to me. They go audition for music, and eventually they came to form a group known as Loningisa. Loningisa is playing music between 1950 and 1955 until basically they says, no, we don't like the terms of the music that these guys are actually giving us, so we're going to start playing music on our own. Eventually, they put together a group with Franco McCarthy and Vicky Longomba. They go now to a bar by the name of OK, which simply stands for Oscar Kashal, the name of the owner of the place. They go there and say, we'd like to actually audition to become the gig that you have around this bar. And the place, yes, I'm going to let you play. They're playing with this guy, and eventually, Franco simply, the name of the group name came to be known as OK. But Franco said, no, it's not so much OK after the name of this guy, but it's OK after basically Orchestre de Kinshasa, meaning Kinshasa Orchestra. And he said, I'm going to call it now OK Jazz. And he's playing with Vicky Longomba from 1957 all the way to 1970. In the meantime, Vicky Longomba is basically the man in charge. And Franco was basically in the background. And come 1970, Vicky Longomba says, no, I'm going to walk away from this thing. I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm going to leave this thing called OK Jazz to you, Franco Longomba. Franco said, I'm going to take over this group, and I'm going to call this group now Tout Puissant OK Jazz, meaning the Almighty OK Jazz. And as it becomes the Almighty OK Jazz, Franco Longomba decided now to start playing music at a level that no one had ever seen it before. This is now where I have to pay attention. As I was saying, when it comes to personal branding, the key thing that we have to do as people, as we're growing as a personal brand, is to go from a place where we can turn the notes we hear in our head into a tune. Franco Longomba was able to actually spend between 1950 to 1970 perfecting his craft, basically finding a way to turn the notes into tune. From 1970 to 1978, he said, now I'm going to show you that I am now the master. I'll be playing music at a level completely different. I'm going to now and go and do something completely crazy. I'm going to turn the music into noise. So TMN, I'm going to turn music into noise. As the president of the time, by the name of Mobutu, says, we are now going to do away with all these things from Belgium. We are no longer be calling ourselves by a Western name. We have to go now to what we call now a policy of authenticity. Yes, RDC and Loco Makasi, indeed, yes. Thank you very much, Jessica. So as we're now going to go back to a place of authenticity, I expect also all the musicians within the country to actually play music along the same line, music that actually represent our values and culture. Franco Longomba says, no, that is true, but I'm going to be playing music my own way. You're not going to impose your music on me. I am the musician, you are the politician. Franco Longomba goes on to write music that will completely extremely beyond controversial. As a matter of fact, I have never seen in my life a musician that wrote music the way that this gentleman wrote music in the 19th. It was beyond controversial. The music sounds well when it comes to the instrument, but the lyrics are so despicable. that this music was intended to be only played within concert closed doors, someone decided to tape the music and take it out and start selling it to the bars outside. Eventually, this music became known by the authorities, and the government simply said, we have to do something because this music is too much. We have to actually make an example of this guy before somebody's come and start doing the same thing. And come 1978, the gentleman was now working as the Attorney General by the name of King Wadondo decided now to get Franco Makedi arrested. He's arrested, is actually thrown to jail for 2 months. Franco Makedi go to jail for 2 months, and as he's released, he goes now into exile. And as he goes to exile, he's actually thinking about what to do next. Comes 1980, he put together a song called Tailleur. Tailleur simply means, yes, you are the one that you actually you sew clothes for a living. But eventually, if and when the person who actually owns the machine takes the machine away from you or takes away the needle from you, how are you going to be able to make clothes? Because around that time, the Attorney General by the name of King Wadondo was also deposed. So Franco Makedi went out now to make music to make fun of King Wadondo, because simply saying, you decided to actually stop me, but I am unstoppable because I am music. I am art for this country. I am the culture for this country. You can stop me. But it goes on in 1981 to put together a song. Ngai Mobalia Tembe. Ngai Tembele Kangai. A song he released in 1981. And 1981 was also the year when this young girl was actually born, Beyonce. Beyonce eventually, when she started making music, she simply says, yes, I would like now to go back to the history of music and go to see if there's a musician back in Africa that can represent my music. And she decided to lay eyes on the music of Franco Makedi, and that's the music she's playing. 1981, the music that Franco Makedi actually released, and that's also the year when she was born. Now, this is just to tell you the level and the caliber of the music that this guy was actually playing. Now, when it comes to being a gold digger, now let me just slow down so I can actually talk about wisdom as far as everything is concerned. First of all, being a gold digger is absolutely nothing new. All the head of states from 1638, as I can show you, have been definitely what I would simply qualify as gold diggers. Even when in an early 1900, when Queen Victoria was actually seen as the empress of the empire upon which the sun never set, because she was simply a gold digger, quote unquote, because she was going to all different parts of the world. Eventually went to South Africa to actually lay claims on different territory because she wanted to secure as much gold as possible for her own empire. So being a gold digger is completely nothing new. When the same mentality was exported to Africa through King Leopold II, when Leopold II went to Kinshasa and called it Leopoldville, and eventually decided to plunder as much as possible within a short amount of time, of course, it set a standard when it comes to how to actually make it in life. So you have to actually you have to go and just without trying to get as much as possible. And of course, come this young man by the name of Franco Makedi in 1938. As he's growing up, he understands that in order for you to actually make it in life, you have to go to school. He started going to school. And again, this is something to do with what I've been talking about for the past few days. So AVC, ambition, vision, and core. He says, no, it's not so much about ambition, it's not so much about vision, it's not so much about the network. I need to go to school to actually secure my living. He goes to school and eventually he's forced to actually to leave school because his father passed away and he has now to actually drop out and to become someone to help his mom put food on the table. But here's now the key question we'd like to actually ask. Did Franco Makedi become wealthy in 1970s or did it become wealthy in the 1950s? Because when you look at the history very, very well, you're going to come to realize that this young man had potential. And the potential, the wealth that he had basically was already there in 1950s. The wealth that he was looking for was there already within in 1950s. So this is now where I want you to pay close attention. The wealth that you are looking for, my friend, is already within you. It's not without, it's already within you. It's only when you're going to change how you look at yourself, self-perception, then you're going to see basically how this wealth is going to start slowly but surely start coming out. But when you keep looking on the outside without to see how wealth is going to be given to you, that's basically you're going to actually living a life of frustration. The wealth that you are looking for is within you. The wealth that you are looking for is within, just like it was within Franco Makedi in 1950s. The wealth that you are looking for is within you. Number one. Number two. Once you understand that, you're going to come to a place where you're going to understand that, yes, education is simply a way to actually bring out of you what you are looking for. Education is not something that's supposed to give you something from the outside. Education is simply giving you what's already within you to simply bring to the surface the goal that is within you. And once you come to understand that the goal you are actually looking for is already within you, your mindset will change to a place where you're simply going to look at yourself with more reverence, with more respect, and more urgency, because you realize that yes, what I'm looking for is within me, and what I'm looking for is also looking for me, because your potential is looking for you to now start acting with more urgency and more clarity as far as your next steps are concerned. So be a gold digger, but not looking for resources and opportunities outside. Be a gold digger looking at opportunity and potential within you, and to find a way to actually start working on your potential and manifesting your potential. Because as a matter of fact, when it comes to the definition of wealth, and this is what I'm going to leave you with, definition of wealth is not so much money, investment, properties, assets, so on and so forth. No. The definition of wealth, when you actually understand it properly, is the ability to make a difference, to make a dent in the universe. When you actually put away, you take away all the money, all the flamboyant display of wealth that Louis XIV had between 1638 and 1712, you're going to come to realize one thing: with or without all this money outside, this guy simply made a dent in the universe, because he was a man, he was a genius when it comes to politics, that found a way to actually impose his will on the rest of the population. So as far as you and I are concerned, the true wealth that we are looking for is not so much in terms of how to buy the next big thing, how to actually be seen as the person with the most access to cash, but to be seen as a person who's actually making an impact as far as your community is concerned. And this is why basically I want you to actually pay close attention, because you know what, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, your money, your bank account will mean nothing to the generation to come, but one thing will mean something to them is basically the level of footprint and the quality of actually innovation we have actually brought to the community as far as the community is concerned. And that's exactly what Robert McKelly did between 1950 and all the way to 1988, when he basically passed away. Why? Because this guy understood one thing: with or without education, I'm going to know exactly what I was born to do. I was born to simply play music at the highest level possible. I know I'm not Dr. Nico Cassandra, but I know one thing: I have passion to write music, and I have passion to play my guitar. And when I take that and I was just using it until basically I can find a way to let the world know that I was born to actually put this country on the map. And that's exactly what he did between 1950 and 1988. So now here's the question for you: by the time your time is done, are you going to be seen as a person who helped put your city on the map? Are you going to be seen as a person who helped put your state or your province on the map? Are you going to be seen as a person who helped put your country on the map? Because when you look at the life of people like John D. Rockefeller, born in 1839, you come to realize one thing: yes, this man had a passion to make a living for himself, because his father was basically an absentee dad. He was a salesman that was basically always on the road, number one. Number two, he had two homes. So basically, as he was traveling around America, he started basically having a affair with another woman, and eventually he started paying attention to the needs of his family. So John Davidson Rockefeller simply said to himself, I am going to find a way to make 100,000 by the time I'm 18. I'm going to find a way to make it happen, because I so despise the life of lack that we have within this family. But guess what? The wealth he was looking for was within him, because by the time he reached 18, he was able to make not 100,000 but 400,000, because this man was focused. The wealth he was looking for was within him. Example number one. Example number two. 1918, 1920, one of these two later, I'm sure. This guy, I believe he died in 1992. Sam Walton, in 1962, he said to himself, I'm going to create now this company known as Walmart. When he decided to start thinking in terms of Walmart, it was not a big place. A matter of fact, people simply say, who's this guy trying to actually become a game changer? It's not going to make a difference. But people simply say, this guy was serious. And by the time he basically passed away in 1992, in 1993, his company, Walmart, was able to start making now $3 billion. I made a mistake a few days ago. It was not $3 billion a month. It was $3 billion in profit on a weekly basis. Completely unprecedented. Why? Because the guy came to realize also one thing: the wealth that you are looking for is not outside, it's simply within you. When you start paying attention to the person that you are, your potential, sky is the limit. And when you start looking at yourself as a person who's actually sent there to actually be the game changer as far as your community is concerned, as far as your country is concerned, my friend, clarity and urgency can simply go to take you from wherever you are now to the next level and do things the way we simply call the Franco way. Franco Rumble McKenny way, because with or without the support of the people around you, you simply go to look within it and become simply unstoppable, because you're going to see that yes, I have the voice that the country is looking for, and the goal they're looking for is within me. The goal they're looking for is in your voice. The goal they're looking for is in my mind. The goal that Ken is looking for is in my mind. I know that, and that's why I speak with so much passion on a daily basis, because I am trying to put this country on the map, and the same way I'm trying to put this country on the map is the same way you too should find a way to put your country, to put your community on the map through what you do on a daily basis. All right? Oh my goodness, 12:24. True to my word, let me just say, oh my goodness, I can stop over the next 6 minutes. Let me just say hello quickly to my good friend here. Michelle, thank you very much. Makeup and mom and son, thank you very much for being here. Everyone, please say hello to Makeup and mom son. Oh, thank you so much for being here. Jessica, J-Dub Vlogs, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Please say hello to her. Make sure you actually go visit her channel. Mama Mimine Kaka TV, all the way from the London City in England. Please go say hello to her. Oh my goodness, what a great day today. I also have here Mountain Finance. Oh yes, Professor Kenneth, an amazing speaker. As a matter of fact, she delivers great content when it comes to finances, and tomorrow she's on it exactly. I think you'll on live in the afternoon. I will be there. Yes, here's the key question I'm receiving here from Jessica. Yes, a man should always have some type of job. If he can get higher, he can get more loans, sell CDs, car wash. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with Jessica. As a matter of fact, I always believe that there's always something that can be done. There's always something that can be done. There's always some kind of resources that you can actually put together as far as your own situation is concerned. As I keep saying, I was saying that here, as a matter of fact, 2 days ago, the concept of nothing. When someone said that I have absolutely nothing, I have basically nothing in my hand, I'll simply say no, because the concept of nothing is basically something that we have invented for ourselves. There's always something you can do. If you can run, you can crawl. If you can crawl, you can actually move something. And if you can just move something, if you can just open your mouth is already something you can use. Just start singing, start doing something, start speaking. There's always something that can be done to actually advance ourselves and come to a place where we're going to make an impact as far as our communities are concerned. Definitely agree with you. We are all called to be hustlers. As a matter of fact, you don't need to actually depend on anybody when it comes to life. You can just be a hustler just like Franco Lombaken. As a matter of fact, here's a funny thing. Between 1950 and 1953, this gentleman who used to actually go hustle in the market with his mom to actually try to draw people away from other competitors just to come to his mom's side, because he was playing music with virtuoso. Number one, between 1953 and 1957, he was now playing music basically around Kinshasa, going to funerals. Basically, he was barely 13, 14. He was going to funeral to actually play music for people, or go to the street just to let the whole world know that he had a craft that he wanted to shape the rest of the world. And because he was just getting better and better at what he was doing, eventually he caught the attention of people that wanted now to invest in him. And that's how eventually he came to actually create this band named OK Jazz, and eventually rebaptized as Tout Puissant OK Jazz. Why? Because the spirit of hustle was there. It's not so much depending on others. You can simply find a way to just look within and find the resources to put things together and just get to the top. Black Money Corporation. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much for being. I'm beyond grateful for your presence. Oh my goodness. Oh, yes. And I definitely agree with you, Jessica. A man always has a job or trade to actually, absolutely, as a matter of fact, yes. But it was the one key thing I just want to actually put emphasis on. When you look at the life of musician, as a matter of fact, here's a funny story, perfect story. This governor from California that left the office a few years ago by the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he decided to actually turn to bodybuilding, his father was actually a police officer. He used to look at him and simply say, "You are wasting your time. What kind of life is this? Actually, just going to the gym, just lifting weights. What kind of life is this? You are actually wasting your time. This is the perfect definition of wasting one's time." But guess what? it is through these weightlifting abilities that this gentleman found a way to actually catch the attention of people like John Wheeler back in the 1960s. And when he finally moved to America, John Wheeler says, what can I do for you now to actually help you to go to the next level? Simply say, yes, I left my buddy in Europe by the name of Franco Colombo. If you can bring him here along so I can actually train with him, we'll actually make it to the next level. Franco Colombo came to America, and together actually were able to build a fortune and build something together to the point where when he started attending college, Schwarzenegger himself says, I will go to college, I will ask one thing. I'm here for education, but I'm driving a better car than a professor of this college. So what is it with this this thing? It seemed like to me completely upside down. And he realized that, you know what, the things that he was actually interested in, that his friend used to make fun of, are basically the one potential, the one goal that he had received to actually make things happen as far as himself is concerned. So when it comes to how to actually provide for yourself, there are many ways to actually do that. We simply have to actually become more open-minded and to actually encourage the people around us to actually pursue their vocation, pursue their passion, because sometimes what we seem completely ridiculous now can be what exactly the community is looking for. Some may simply say, you Dimitri, you are crazy. Last example, 1888. In Germany, this guy by the name of Carl Benz, when he put together the first car, people were laughing at him. You want to know why? Because they're saying the car that you put together needs gas, needs gas, and this gas that you need to put in your car needs to be actually sold at pharmacies. You are completely crazy. We can't simply go buy a bicycle, ride a bicycle without going to the pharmacy. Number one, I can buy horses and have my carriage actually led by horses, and I can move around without any problem. But why do you go to the extent of why do you go to Greenland to put together something that will need to be carried with gas or kerosene, or you have to go buy that at the pharmacy? And guess what? Because he pushed the envelope so much, eventually people come to realize, oh my goodness, we can go much faster with this thing that these guys put together. And eventually the demand for this thing came to actually be to grow, because it's persistence in seeing a need before the community had seen the need as far as the future was concerned. So sometimes it's not so just about looking at traditional jobs at the way that we look at it back in the day. It's about also innovating. So we have to push one another to also start looking in different direction and not just being focused on what basically the only traditional way. For example, when you go back to the life of Franco McKenzie, in 1950s, when he dropped out of high school, it was basically supposed to be lost because he had no way of actually securing a good life without the proper foundation. But because he believed in his gift, that's how basically it came now to pave the way for others to realize that yes, you can go on to become somebody and to actually put food on the table for your family, actually doing something that other than going to working in the office. Anyways, that was just a different subject. Yes, I think I've acknowledged everyone. It's exactly right now 12:31. Oh my goodness, let me just make sure I've acknowledged everyone. Okay, let me go back from the beginning. So again, thank you very much for all of you for actually being here. So the Belfast, thank you very much for being here. Delfrida, thank you very much. Cynthia Hope, I'm so grateful for your presence. Wellness with Frugal Mama, thank you very much. Legacy Moment, oh my goodness, beyond grateful for your kindness to grace us with your presence. My brother Sam out of Germany, thank you very much. Oh, you're amazing. Oh yes. Dr. Guitarists, thank you very much for gracing us your presence. Plan Your One Life, thank you very much. Rich New Design, thank you very much. Mimi Nekaka TV, thank you very much. Dr. Candace, Mountains Fan, thank you very much. Delfrida, thank you very much. Okay. Kesha, oh, thank you so much for being here. Who else is here? Was here? Wellness with Frugal Mama, thank you very much. Okay. Yes, Maya MTV, thank you very much. Michelle, Makeup and Mom and Son, thank you very much. And I think I've actually covered everyone. So again, once again, yes, it's exactly 12:32 right now. I've covered all I had to cover within 1 hour. My goodness, how I did it, I have absolutely no clue. But you know what? We did it. 1638 all the way to 1980. 1630 with Little 14, and we ended up with Franco McKenzie in 1988. And we should show you that yes, stop looking at life the old-fashioned way, the traditional way. There are many ways to actually make things happen, and you don't have to depend on anyone. You can become a gold digger, but gold digger starts from within. Look at the gold within you and start looking at creative ways to simply manifest the gift within, and let the whole world know, yes, there is a possibility to actually make things happen, and you are here to manifest the ultimate true form of wealth, which is basically the ability to make a difference within the community and to simply make a dent in the universe. All right? I'm going to stop you right now. Thank you very much again. Looking forward to sharing with you in the days to come. Until then, take good care. Remember, you are perfection made flesh. But not for the perfection to be manifested, you have to be intentional with how you look at yourself. Look at yourself with more intentionality, because there is greatness in you more than you can possibly imagine. All right? Being a gold digger, being the ultimate, the most sophisticated gold digger as far as you are concerned, look at yourself with intentionality. See exactly how you can start digging into yourself to find exactly how you can actually make a difference and put your country, put your community on the map the way you were so designed to be. From Colonial, so can you. All right? Love you so much. Looking forward to having more training in the next few days. Until then, take good care. Remember, I love you very much. You are absolutely fabulous. Have yourself a fantastic weekend.